What's up everybody, Steve here. I want to show you how quickly the housing market can turn and how badly it could get for people who will become upside down on their mortgage, including all closing costs. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump into Boise, Idaho and just show you what's going on in that market. I'll bring you guys through Redfin as well toward the end of this. And also be sure that you guys are subscribed because we're going to bring in an expert in the Boise, Idaho market to talk more in detail on another video next week about what's going on in that hot housing market. So right now, Boise is in some turmoil. If you haven't heard, right now, the median sales price, which I'll show you in Redfin, is going for about $510,000. Now, back in May of this year, the median sales price for all homes, now this is single family, condos, townhomes, etc., was $575,000 back in May. Now, life happens and you see a lot of layoffs, and I believe coming into this recession, we're going to see more and more layoffs as time progresses. Even Powell has come out and said that he is trying to slow down the economy, which is going to lead into job layoffs. So everybody needs to be prepared for this. But understand something, in Boise, layoffs are happening right now. So if you guys were thinking everything was great, you got a good job, you got plenty of money rolling in, and then all of a sudden you're buying a house back in May for $575,000, and then all of a sudden you get a pink slip and you no longer have a job. You guys are scrambling, you're trying to figure out what's going on. If you didn't have a reserve account, you might already be delinquent on your mortgage. Now, here's the problem. If you bought that house for $575,000 back in May, and right now the median sales price is $510,000, let's say you sold your property for $510,000, but when you initially bought it, you bought it at 95% LTV. That means you owe $545,000 on this property. Now, if you sold it for $510,000, you can already see that you're upside down. You're going to have to cut a check at closing. However, one thing that you have to consider are closing costs as well. So based on the sales price of $510,000, you're already upside down by $35,000. Now, if closing costs, we can equate about 7% depending on the state that you're in, and that's going to include commissions, maybe doc stamps, title insurance, and so forth. If we state that closing costs are about 7 to 8%, at 7%, that's going to be about $35,000 in closing costs that the seller is going to have to come to the table with. So right off the bat, at that equation, you're negative $70,000. Now, who necessarily has $70,000 to cut a check at closing to sell their property? Not many people. So there's only so many things that somebody can do. You can go ahead and rent the property out, and hopefully you're in a cash flow position. You can sell it and cut a check. If you're delinquent and you cannot cut a check for the closing, then you're going to be in possible short sale scenario. And if you're a real estate agent, we have other videos on this channel pertaining to short sales. Or worst case, if you can't get the short sale done, you might be pushed into a foreclosure situation. And if you're able to get back up on your feet quickly, you might be able to talk to your lender and tell them you have a new job and try to work a loan modification. Now, understand something too, loan modifications, in most cases, the lender is going to basically go through that whole pre-qualification process, just like when you got your loan initially. So the problem is, if you do not have adequate job history and you can't show consistent job income coming in, you might not get that loan modification. So it could push you toward a short sale situation or a foreclosure situation, unfortunately. Now, what happens further down the road? Now, this person sold at $510,000, and any new sales that come up. So if we were going to list a property, a comparable property, we're going to look at sold comparables, and we're going to see that one was sold for $510,000, maybe another one sold for $520,000, maybe another one sold for $515,000. So we're going to list it at $510,000. But the problem is there's more layoffs coming and more issues and recession, and people got overextended. So what happens is more and more people are going to start listing their properties, and what happens there? then it's just supply and demand. So more properties are coming to market. And if you are working with a real estate agent like us, we're going to tell you, you know, unfortunately, it becomes a pricing battle where you got to undercut your competition. So if more and more properties are coming to market at 510, we might suggest, you know, going to 499,000 to get ahead of this curve, because who knows what the market's going to look like 6 months, 12 months down the road. Instead of 510, the property might be worth 400,000. So it's important to get ahead of the curve if you're in this situation. But the problem is, if you were buying back in May or even earlier, you're likely in an upside down position. So just as quickly as the market exploded with artificially low interest rates and the government and the Fed just pumping money into the system over a 2-year period, our market has just been insane. And unfortunately, as quickly as it went up, I believe it's going to go down just as quickly over the next 12, 16, 18 months. Unfortunately, a lot of people are going to get hurt by this, but those who are prepared and are kind of sitting on the sidelines and waiting, I believe that they're going to be able to get some really good deals in the future. Okay, now let's jump into Redfin real quick so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about in terms of the housing market trends. This is for Boise. And also remember, next week we have a industry expert in the Boise market. So this person's going to show you what's going on, because remember, that is the market that exploded first, peaked first, and is going down first. And I think we can learn a lot, because that is the canary in the coal mine. So let's go ahead and take a look at Redfin right here. So we can see Boise housing market trends. And again, this is Redfin, and I'll put a link for you guys so you guys can check it out as well. But we can easily see right here, if we come into May, it's looking to be around 575-ish. So that was the calculation that I utilized. And then we can see in June, obviously went down. July obviously went down to about 510, which is the median sales price. And we can see year over year, in terms of the amount of homes sold, it is down significantly, down almost 34%. So if you're not a subscriber, be sure to do so. Hit the bell notification so you get notified of that upcoming video, because it's going to be really good detailed information of what's going on in the Boise, Idaho market. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks for being here.